Get into it. So, how starting over helped me build a life I actually want? And here's the thing, there was a period where I thought I was going backwards because I was finding myself. And so I wanted to basically share a little bit about my journey because on paper, it looks like I just went from a business owner into a bus driver. But honestly, it wasn't just that. I realized that I also it is this season is actually teaching me a lot about alignment and walking my purpose and and just not doing the things that people think I should be doing, but doing the things I actually want to do. So um here's my story. So 11 years ago, I was stuck in jobs that drained me. So I was in retail for like over 10 years because I worked in it all the way to my teens to like my um, early 20s. And there was a lot of toxicity in that workplace. And, with there being favorites and the managers not treating everyone fairly. And I don't know, like I didn't get along with the managers. Like it was one of those toxic environments. And then I finally got another job, and it was at a dealership, and I was actually in the service, working in the service section. Um, and at first, it was exciting for me. But then quickly, like after a few weeks, it quickly died off, and I found like people was just unorganized. And when what would happen is when the coworkers weren't doing their job, I would basically get hit with like the frustration from the customers around their car. So then obviously it would directly impact me, and I had little patience. I was like, this thing sucks, and like sometimes I would cry at work, sometimes I would cry walking to work. I hated them having that much control of my time, and not only that, but not making enough money to like actually pay my bills. So I went through a whole I went through years of just working jobs that I was just very unhappy in, and it was not fulfilling at all. And I remember specifically one day, like when I was in my old neighborhood and I was walking to the mall, like to work, and I remember I would just cry. But I always knew that there was something more, but I just didn't know what it was. And then that's the encouragement to you guys. Like if you're in a season right now where you're like, okay, like this is not making sense. Like I don't get how I'm gonna get out of there. You have to know that like you're gonna get out somehow. Like if you just continue like just going through the steps and going through, I want to say the motions, but it's not the right word, but just like taking it day by day, eventually like things do fall in place. But I feel like it's like the key things, like you have to keep on moving and you have to believe that it's going to get better. um because from that experience 11 years ago, like being in happy jobs and just being really frustrated, makes you realize like, okay, nothing stays the same for years on end. Like 10 years ago, if you told me, oh, like you're gonna be like I'm gonna be doing something completely different, like I'm gonna have a business for a while, then transition back into like being a like city bus driver and all this stuff, like I wouldn't have known this while working and now being aligned in my purpose. Like I would have never known that. um hey, um I wouldn't have known this, like that it can things can shift, and you have to believe things will shift. Like it never stays the same, even when you feel like, oh, this is gonna last forever, it never stays the same. Now it may get worse or it may get better depending on what you do, but it never stays the same. And so honestly, like when I was like going through life, like I was one of those people that didn't really have big dreams. And I guess it's because of my toxic background. I didn't have big dreams. Like I wasn't one of those people that was like, oh, like I want to be this and that, like, I want to be a doctor or whatever it is. Like I didn't have those type of big dreams. Like my ultimate dream was, oh, I just want to get married and have 6 kids, be barefooted in the kitchen and just be pregnant all the time and just like, and that's it. Like That was my vision for my life. Okay. But obviously, jokes on me. God had other plans, right? And God obviously had other plans. And it was nothing like what I imagined. Um, and I believe God, because of the certain events that happened, he made me see like, okay, like there's more to life than just to, get married and have kids. Like they're all awesome things. But I got to see, okay, there's more than just that. Like that's just a small part of your life. Um, and yeah, it's just a small part of your life. Like it's not this destination of getting married and like having your like plus one, all that stuff. Um, and so I went on this journey. So um, then I got laid off. And that's when life really interrupted things. Like that's when everything started to slow down. Um, and that was at that. It was like it felt like a catalyst because it was at that pivotal point where I was like, okay, what now, God? Like, like I remember at the time because I was in my early 20s. I was like, okay, what now? Like, obviously, it's not going like things are not going away. I thought it would, being barefoot and just being pregnant. Okay, and then I was like, what's next? And then that's when I found out about the Amazon opportunity, and I know I've talked about it a few times. Um, and getting laid off could have been one of the best things that happened to me, because it allowed me to finally make a decision and bet on myself. And some of you guys have to learn. This is something I learned. Some of you guys have to learn to be very uncomfortable um, in these situations. And you have to look at the situation as an opportunity. Some of you guys have to see the opportunity in a situation that does not look ideal, because those are the times where when it gets really hard and the situation doesn't look ideal is a time where you want to give up. It's usually the time where you're like, okay, like this is not looking good, it's getting worse, and I just want to sit there and relax now, Lord, and you do your thing. But sometimes those opportunities where if you get laid off, or you go on your pip at work, or things are not working out the way you want to, those are the times to usually make a decision that's been on your mind. So I'm not saying you make these like rash decisions, but it's usually like when these things happen is a time to actually move forward on the things where you've been sitting back and being like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to do this." type thing. Okay? And when I made the decision to finally move forward with coaching for the first time on Amazon, because I was like, I want a different result. I want a different resolve, right? Like that was it for me. Like for me, I sold myself on, I'm like, I don't want to do the same thing. I don't want to keep on applying for different jobs. Like that, point blank. I don't want to apply for different jobs over and over. And I don't want to apply for and then have the same result, always be unhappy again. Like who wants to be in that all the time? And so I took the plunge. And because I took the plunge for this starting an Amazon business, um, it opened doors for me. It made me see myself in a new light. Hey, Rectorm. It made me see myself in a new light. And I did basically six figures my first year. Made my first sale like the first week or something like that when I first started. And it made me see what was possible for life. Like I want you to take you a little bit back, like how I was feeling at that time. I was feeling like I was the biggest outsider. Like I didn't feel like I fit in. I didn't feel like there was anything like going for me. Because of the jobs that I had, that I was very unhappy in. I didn't feel like I had a lot of skills. I had a lot of talent. Like the girl you see now is definitely not the girl you saw like back then. Like I didn't believe like there was anything special about me or unique about me. But because like I did this business, like it made me see myself in a different light. It made me see potential in myself for the first time and see, okay, I'm not just this one thing. But I want to talk about the part that people don't talk about. Okay. Um, when you have success, it doesn't mean it's always alignment. So what I mean by that. So everything looked good in my life. So if you looked at my life, you'll see like I made money, saved money, I learned a lot. But the thing about it was I outgrew it. So I did it for about 4 years. Um, and after a while, I got tired of it. Like, at first, it was fine, right? Like, I was teaching people, I was helping people start their own stores, all that stuff. But it came a time where I was just tired of things. Right. And so after a while I started speaking up and I would hire coaches and I would tell them like, hey, I'm tired of this business. Like I don't want to do it. And then every time they would always talk me back into it because it was the one driver that was bringing me success. But I always knew like I wanted to get out of it. Like I wanted to do something different. And this is the part that sometimes people don't understand because all they see is the success. Like they just see like the external, but they're not seeing the internal. They're not seeing the part that's like there's a part that's stirring within you where you're like, like something needs to change. But sometimes also you yourself won't know exactly what that is. But like there's something deep down where you're like, okay, like this can't be it. This can be all. So I went through a period where it just wasn't aligned, and then one day, this was actually just before COVID, we knew it was going to happen. I decided to just close the business. Like I basically just shut it down because I was like, I'm tired of it. And obviously, I did coach for a few years, so I would say about 2 years. Like there was one year where I took off because I was really sick, which thankfully, like I had the money to do so. Um, but then I coasted. I started searching for different things. And then I started asking what's next. So short story short is I found an opportunity at a marketing agency. Then he let me go. And then I turned around and was like, I see how much money you're making. Can you be my mentor? I was one of those people. I was like, can you be my mentor? Um, and so I built a marketing agency. And in the first 5 weeks, I did like 5 figures with 6 clients or something like that, with no testimonials, doing exactly what the mentor said. Um, but here's the thing. Again, I started to get that feeling again slowly. And then here's what happened is what happened was I was at church one day and there was a shift. And I heard God say, like, okay, Nikia, like it's time to start the YouTube channel. Just tell your personal stories. Like that's how I started. It was so clear, it was loud. Um and starting YouTube changed something in me, like something shifted. Um And after that, I had a new taste. Like it's hard to explain, but there was just a new world that opened up to me because it was like I found my voice for the first time. Um, and I was no longer doing businesses that was based on what was just being successful and making money. And I think that's important and key. Like I know we all say, "Oh, we want to make money," but you also want to do something that's like meant for you. Like that is your purpose. Because when you're in your strengths and your purpose and you're passionate about it, it's even better. Like when you're doing it just because you're good at it, that's okay, but it's not going to be fulfilling, believe it or not. It's not as fulfilling. And so what happened is when I started doing these like videos and stuff, I started to get fulfilled. And then after my taste for the marketing agency kind of went down. And it didn't make sense. Like I couldn't explain it. It wasn't one of those things where I was like, oh, this makes sense. Like I just couldn't explain it. And so one day, like I was taking a shower and literally I heard something just say, like, just let go of all the clients. And so I dropped all the clients. And then I went on this journey. I basically went on a journey of figuring it out. And obviously, like it's not something that's easy, like just because like you kind of know your purpose and you know what you enjoy, it doesn't mean like, oh, it's just like it's easy and like everything just goes linear. Like it doesn't. And I think that's a lot of like if you could learn something from this is like just because you have a purpose and you have passion doesn't mean that it's easy. It's something that you're going to have to fight for because you're gonna have to fight against the odds. You're gonna be fighting against all these distractions and like all the other things that is trying to get in your way to like keep you from doing it or all the hard things that are happening. You may have to become the person first to get to the level that you want to be at. Right. Because sometimes you may be learning in that moment. You're learning things in that moment to grow, to become the person that you need to be, to carry out that purpose. And so one day I was on Facebook again. I feel like all my experience is always on Facebook. And so one day I was on Facebook and I was in a like community group And then someone posted like and said, "Oh, like there's a job available." And I was like, "What is this? What is she talking about?" And it was basically a job for a city bus driver. Hey, girl. Oh, thank you. I've been thinking about you. I was like, "Oh, what happened to you? How you been working a lot?" But yeah, no, so I was just sharing my story in a nutshell. So I was just sharing just like my whole journey, like my shift. Um, so like if I just like over no problem, I could just give an overview. Basically, my shift was I have notes here. I was talking about where I was 11 years ago. The like where I thought I was gonna be, which was like barefooted and pregnant, and just having babies and married. And then basically, in a nutshell, I talk about obviously that didn't happen. Like God had a different plan. And then I had a layoff, and that was like the catalyst. I think I've talked about this, but like that was a catalyst for me and starting my first business, learning about like the things that I was good at when I had a lot of insecurities and low self-esteem. So the business I started really helped like show me another side, like how like, marriage and being single, like marriage and having babies was like one little dot in my life. Um and then I basically talked about the part that people don't talk about is like you can be in success and not in alignment. So I covered that where I didn't feel in alignment. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope all your family members are good. That's hard. And that could be like very draining. Hopefully you're taking care of yourself too. But I understand that could be very time consuming. But it's so good to see you. I was thinking about you. And I was like, what happened to Keisha? Um, yeah. And then so then I talked about like not just being in alignment and so basically like I'm just sharing how I'm very happy to reach here where I'm no longer starting businesses that I'm not in alignment with, like not enjoying. Yeah, I'm just very grateful that I've come to a place where now I'm accepting and learning to just listen to my intuition. And just not build things because like I can, meaning like I don't want to build other people's dreams. And this is not part of my notes, but like one of the things I think there was a realization. So when I was like getting mentored by a mentor, a successful agency owner, I think that's where I left off, where I was talking about the agency. Like, um, when I was getting mentored by him, I remember there was a point where I heard a voice say like, "That's his purpose, not yours." I actually heard that voice because there was a time where I was like, I'm not really enjoying this, like hustling for clients and like just wasn't my thing. It's a different grind. Yeah, exactly. But I think like I spent so many of my years just because of, coming from a toxic family. Just coming from toxic family and very dysfunctional. Over time I learned to not trust myself. Um, yeah, and I was a little bit about me and nothing's wrong with this necessarily, but I think for me it wasn't good. Is like because I grew up in a very healthy church family, I had a lot of support, and I would always constantly run to my church family whenever something happened or to help me resolve like issues, like not big issues, but like regular life. And I got to this point where I depended on other people's opinions, um, and that unfortunately carried through when I started this business when I got laid off because I hired my first coach and then I was hooked. And then all I would do is just listen to their guidance and let them be my guide and let them tell my opinions. And then I would just follow that and yes I would see success and it gets addictive. But then it gets so far to the point where when you look back you realize oh shoot, I just built what they wanted to build. Like I didn't build what I want. And I would always get in this place where I'm like, where am I? Like, why am I here? And I didn't really want it. But it took me many years to get to that. And I think it was once I started that marketing agency, where I got to see like at first I was like, oh, I want to exit and build it really big. But then over time that changed. And that really shifted with starting the YouTube video when God told me to do it. And he told me to share my stories like what I do now. I'm a storyteller. Um, And that something shifted. Like I lost all my taste for that business and closed it down. And it was a very hard transition because I wasn't used to. I was in this coaching trap. If I'm being honest, I was in this coaching trap where I would always get someone because I didn't trust my intuition, and I always depend on other people to tell me what to every step to do because I knew like okay I can assure I'm being successful. But I've been walking through this journey of just learning to just be and like trust what I'm doing, that it's working, and just following my ideas. So like doing these lives, I would say I do it frequently. It's not really on a daily. It depends. Usually I take a break, but like doing lives like 4 to 6 times a week. It's been something I've been enjoying that I didn't think I was enjoying, but that came from my intuition. So I'm learning to like slowly trust like the steps, even though I don't have 47 steps. I wish I had all steps I had, because that's what the coach gives you. But I'm learning. I'm in this season where I'm learning, to really just relish being in my intuition. Thank you. Thank you. So I just like to share it because I'm like, maybe there's other people who have been like that, where you're like, always feel like, oh, I need advice from someone else, or they have more experience than I do. But sometimes it's not the case. It's sometimes not the best. Um, oh, thank you. You're being a motivation to others. I'm trying. I'm just being myself, to be honest. But um, so yeah, like been my like that's just been my journey. And there's times where I get tempted where I'm like, oh my God, I just want to like hire a coach and let them just tell me what to do. But I recognize that you have to be careful with that because, um, yeah, you'll end up building a life that you don't actually want. You're building it based on their intuition and all that stuff. So, um, yeah. So let me just, what is going on here? Why are people weird? Um, yeah. So anyway, so the unexpected chapter. So let me go back to that. That's where I kind of left. That's where I actually left off. And so that's one of the key ingredients. You being yourself. Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's what I'm learning. It's just being your authentic self and um just following intuition and maybe slower. Recently I went to a workshop. It was a density switch. I don't know if you've seen my previous video, but I talked about that experience and it's just bringing this up for me. And I remember I was telling her, oh, like the other businesses that I didn't really like have the biggest passion for grew faster than what I'm doing now. Like this right now is slower. And she said this thing where it stuck with me. And she said, usually the thing that you're not in alignment with is going to grow faster than the things that you're in alignment with. Because usually the things that you're in alignment with and fits into your purpose is the thing that you usually have to grow and learn to trust. It's usually what's that word? It's transforming you. And I was like, that is so powerful. Right. So that's why she was like, sometimes the things that you really want usually is a little bit slower, where when you're doing the thing that's fast, like the thing that you don't really care about, like it isn't like, yes, you're growing, but you're just doing it because you're just good at it and it's not like a necessary passion. But I thought that was like such a really awesome insight. So yeah. And so what had happened is I saw someone post a job in a Facebook group, and it was actually for a city bus driver. And usually when I get this type of intuition, like I know a lot of people like sometimes have issues finding jobs, but I'm one of those people like if I get it into like I get this pull and I'll just apply to one job and usually I'll get them. And that's what happened with the marketing agency and then this one. So I applied for the city bus driver job. Um and honestly, like I know like some people look at that as like a step back because you come from like businesses and stuff and all that. I've had actually a person one time tell me in the bookstore, oh, you took a step back. And at first, I was taken aback by it. But then I realized, I was like, actually, it wasn't a step back because it allowed me to slow down. Um, like, this job has allowed me to slow down and actually, and this is the reason why I've come to this transformation. I've learned to trust my intuition and just like being okay, being in between and like figuring things out on my own without any coaching noise anyone telling me what I need to do, any guides telling me, oh, you need to do this, and like when I say guide, it's just the coach basically telling me the next steps, and just like even like just trusting God in it, um, and so yeah, I've been doing this job like the city bus driver, and it's just allowed me to just learn even more about financial literacy. For example, where I never did in my business now, and then, not to say I didn't save, right? Because but I would just leave the money in checking, and that was it. Like I didn't do any. I would get overwhelmed with those things. Um, I don't know if it's a good problem or not, but like I used to always get overwhelmed when I would make too much money, so I would just leave it in there. If that makes sense, like I would just leave it in there and that's that. But like this season for me has given me time to like learn more about money, like do more Pilates, like really learn to do like more hobbies and figure out things that I enjoy, like these live videos, like stuff like that, and like just being like authentic and like really owning into the storytelling. Like this didn't come from a coach. Like this idea just came from here, which is awesome. Or here, which is just here, intuition, right? Um, but when I came to that realization where I was like, okay, this job is like it's not something that's forever, but it's allowing me to like fund what I'm doing. I'm funding my digital assets until it replaces that. And I'm just doing it a different way. And obviously there's some times where I'm tempted to go back. I'm like, maybe I should just go back into marketing industry and hustle and grind. But I didn't like it. I felt like I was like in a dating relationship chasing, like I was the guy and then chasing the clients. And you have to be very hardcore for that. And I have a different energy. But like once I started doing this, like when God told me to do this, like it gave me a taste of something new. Like it gave me a taste of femininity. Like, and I was like, I like this being in my feminine energy. Like, that makes sense. Like, and not always in that hustle ground, like a man. Like, I really enjoy it. And I remember there was this one moment, where I was doing actually Uber Eats for a while when I was transitioning, and I remember I stopped in a it was like it was in a rich neighborhood, okay. And I remember I was driving to deliver someone's food or whatever. And then I remember instantly I heard a small voice say, I'm letting you do this so you can slow down and just dream. And I was like, whoa. And the voice was so clear. And it was at that moment because I was looking at the house in awe and I was like, this is so pretty. And I don't think I noticed those things. You know that? I don't think I noticed this, like those little dreams. Like, I don't think I dreamed when I had the business because remember it wasn't like a purpose of mine. But I don't think I actually dreamed. I think that's what God reminded me. And he's like, I'm allowing you to do this so you can actually just dream. Like that wasn't a thing for me. I was always in a hustle mode. Like, being in masterminds and having like so many coaches and going to all these calls and getting client after client and you're competing, not competing, but you're trying to like up level, right? You're trying to be in the same level as the people doing like, 20, 30, 50 grand a month. So there's a certain drive that you're doing. And I remember when God told me that and I was like, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, absolutely. And there was there's nothing wrong with having a job until you get to where you want to be. Yeah, and it's a little different for me, right? Because I went from business to job. And there was a time where I was embarrassed. Maybe I'll do another video on that. It was a time where I was embarrassed. But over time it kind of grew on me. And now I tell people I'm a city bus driver and they're always so intrigued, which is very interesting to me. It's very odd. Like people actually ask me questions about the job and it's weird. But I guess it's because they don't get to meet a lot of city bus drivers. But it's just taught me like a lot to just slow down. And it's allowed me to just figure out like what I actually want to do without that hustle and grind. Um, and so it's been like a blessing in disguise, and I've been able to just save so much money learning from financial literacy, and um, it's just teaching me a lot of things. Um, and then I like this one. It's like it's allowed me to evolve and it allows you to begin again, right? And this just inspires someone else. Is like it's okay if you chose it's okay if you chose a what do you call it? A track. And it wasn't what you expected to be and then you start over. Yes, thank you, girl. You're so kind and you're motivating. But it's okay to do that. Like it's okay to start over. I think a lot of times we could feel embarrassed where we're like, oh, I have to start over. What do people think? Like, I think I've been past that because at the end of the day, like if I'm not happy, like I don't think anyone else cares if I'm happy or not. Like I have to make sure that I'm happy and I'm not doing things because people feel like, oh, this makes sense. Because that's what was happening with the other businesses. Every time people would hear like how I'm doing, I think there was someone actually like when I told them I wanted to close down the marketing agency, immediately they're like, oh, why would you do that? Like, why don't you go back to doing that? And it's like, no, like, guys, like, money is important. But it's like if it's not in a line, if it's not aligned with what God wants you to do, like, it's not worth doing, and it's not worth your mental health. Um, and you're not gonna have the same patience for it compared to something that you're passionate about. That's another thing too. It's like your patience will be short. Um, it's not the same. And I think I'm way happier than I was before, even when I had the business and made more money. And I think I'm actually managing my money even better now. Now that I have like I want to say a little like you get paid fairly well, but like it's more. It's definitely smaller than a business income. But I feel like I'm doing way more, if that makes sense, than when I had a business. Like it was just hustle and grind, and um, yes, I was working on like anonymity, and doing different things, but I think it's even more prevalent now. Um, yeah. So I just wanted to share this little journey, of how I'm, starting over helped me build a life I actually want. Like that was really the title of this video. It's just way better. And another thing I did started doing is I think there was like 2 years where I stopped even going to business events, anything business. Like I wasn't going to anything, and slowly I started pushing myself, going into business events, business spaces slowly now. And I'm starting to actually make friends in that space, which is nice. And they're definitely in a different level than I'm used to. But it's just beautiful to see people starting something new and building. And it just gives me a different perspective than just being with people or just always top all the time in that like maximum grind. It's nice to just see people just growing and you just kind of grow with them and the things that they enjoy. So yeah, I just wanted to share this journey of mine. Um, yeah. So if your season doesn't make sense, that's okay. Doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense with anyone but you. That's all I want to say. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be seeing you guys tomorrow. And thanks for jumping on, Keisha. It's so nice to see you. And yeah, that'll be it. I know what you mean. I always said I learned my money much better when I had less of it. So I get it. I did Dave Ramsey several times that way. Um, that way when I got some money, I can keep it. Yes. So, I actually did Dave Ramsey when I was 17. So when I was in my teens, my church actually did it as a whole. And that's why I learned a lot about money. But like it was for me, it was more like using it to pay off debt at the time because obviously I've shared how I almost went homeless and like racked up some debt, a little bit of debt and stuff. Um, but I feel for me it was like once I started making more money, I think it's just a different. I don't want to say a different level. I mean, I'm sure you can budget that way, but I just got overwhelmed. Like it was just a different way I used it, I guess. Definitely in a season that doesn't make sense. Are you in a season that doesn't make sense? Very curious. So I used it for debt reduction at the time. Maybe I could have used it for like in terms of budgeting. Oh, see, so I'm not the only one that's good, right? So you get it when I talk about this. Like being in a season doesn't make sense that other people don't get. But I feel like that's when you have to just trust God. And yeah, but yeah, I think Dave Ramsey is awesome. It's just I think like for me once I read Automatic Millionaire in this time of the season in this life, um where I am right now. I read Automatic Millionaire by Dave Bach. I feel like I relate a lot to that, and I wish I knew about it when I was having my business. And his whole philosophy is he doesn't believe in budgets. He just believes in paying yourself first. So basically, um, you would basically save first or whatever, and then you would take care of all your other bills. And I think that's way less overwhelming for me, because now I just save. And then I don't have any much worry. I just pay for what I have to pay, if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, that's awesome. And hopefully, shall to your season making sense eventually, or to anyone else that wants to make it make sense. And it will. Everything falls into place eventually. But okay. Oh yeah, it's definitely trusting God more and learning to slow down too in order to be present and get real clear. Exactly. Um, and I think this is exactly what I needed. Is And I didn't know I needed it, by the way, but it was just to slow down. Like, I know we live in this culture where we like have to hustle and grind all the time. But I think it's just something so powerful to learn to slow down, and just listen and find exactly what you need to do, whatever it is that you need to find out, and just listen to like what's in here is saying. I think that's something powerful about that. Um, because we just live in a world where everyone's giving advice and telling you what's the right way to do. Like, there's even this. I don't know if you heard about it. There was this like Yap challenge that came out, and everyone's like keeps on talking about it, and then like everyone joins it, right, because there's just like this energy, which is awesome. But I found myself saying, "Oh, I wonder if I should sign up for that too." But then it's like, okay, but do I really need that? And that's the process I go for anything. Like when I see something that looks shiny, it's like, do I really need it? Like, it's like, do I just stick with the journey I'm doing now, and then and learn from it, that, or do I need to learn something new? Like I feel like that's always the constant like struggle. Um, but yeah, this is good. That's a good reflection. I love Miles Monroe. I actually bought his other book, so I read his first. What is it called? I read his first, like one of the. It's like a series of three about purpose. About about purpose. It was the first book, and then let me try to find it. One second, and then I bought his second book. I think it's the ultimate like maximum potential or something. It's called, but he has three books, and I bought one of them. Let me find it. Which books have you read from him? Hold on, Monroe potential. Hold on, I'm just looking it up on my iPad. Oh yeah, it's definitely trusting God and oh yeah, I read that. Miles Monroe said there's nothing worse than succeeding at something God never called you to do. Oh girl, you're hitting me with that. You're hitting me with that. Hold on, let me search it. Let me find it. That's what it's called. So I read Understanding Your Potential, and then I read the second one. There's another one called. I didn't read the second one yet. I bought it. Releasing Your Potential Expanded Edition. So like he comes out with different types. It's so good. Like the first one was really good. I'm gonna read the second one. Or I think that was the first one. I may be mixing it up, but you get the point. But I read his Purpose Vision. His book was the reason why I started um a singles page. But again, I shared that in another video. But basically in a nutshell, what had happened was he was the reason why I found my purpose in like inspiring single women, and I started this whole page that was growing. And then guess what I did? I hired a coach, and then I scrapped the whole thing. That's another story that I shared in a previous video. That is crazy though. There's nothing worse than succeeding at something God never called you to do. Yeah, it's horrible. I rather like take things slow and be in an uncomfortable stage where you have to trust God and trust the process than do something that you're not meant to do. Cause there's a lot of things that we're good at. Like you get stuck in we call it the zone of excellence. In the Big Leap, he talks about that in the book. And it's like the zone of excellence where you get stuck doing things that like you're good at, but it's not necessarily like your zone of genius. Yes, I be chasing shiny objects two at a time. Just I know the book about purpose. Yeah. The Purpose book and the Kingdom book. I have another one too. I haven't read the Kingdom one. He has so many. But I've been in that like reading the his series on the understanding your potential and all that stuff. Like I honestly watched a bunch of his. I think that's why I'm slow to read his books because I watched a bunch of his videos on YouTube. So like, and a lot of times he would just share it there, right? His philosophies. I remember he said that there's another one where he said a lot of dreams. What is it? A lot of dreams die in the grave, or something like that. He didn't say like that though. He was like, oh, a lot of no. I don't. I think that's what it was. He didn't say a lot of money, but it was like, oh, a lot of dreams die in the grave, and I was like, ooh, ooh. His stuff's deep though. His stuff is deep. Um, I love Miles Moreau. I feel like he was the only guy. Look, you're making me go on a rant now about him, but honestly, like when I listen to him, I think he's the only man I've seen that actually fulfilled God's promise for his life and actually left this earth fulfilling it. Like I look at him, and I'm like, dude, he actually fulfilled the purpose and calling that God had for him and left. Like he left us with Prince. Like he's gone and his messages are still relevant to this day. Like it's only God that can do that and make it so relevant. Holy Spirit. Like girl, like he's amazing. Like and he just motivates you like how he built this big empire. And I think like with his son, I think it was a struggle with his son because he has a lot. I think he's tried like preach. I don't know if he's preaching, but I think he's tried coming up with videos around purpose. But it's like a lot to like. I hope he figures it out, but it's a lot to hold up to. Like his dad set a print, like a big paw print in the purpose world, and like following God and all that stuff. Now I'm looking at his book, and I was like, yes. Anyways, I love Miles Monroe. He's awesome. But the graveyard has more dreams. Yeah, yeah. Let that not be us in Jesus' name. But I'm just making sure you're not commenting anything. But yeah, we're gonna leave it here, girl. I'm gonna see you tomorrow. I'm gonna be going live for the next few days, probably the same time. Um, yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna be going for the next few days, like until probably like Sunday. I'm gonna keep on going. But this has been fun. I'm so happy to see you. Um, good night, girl. Have a good sleep. And whoever's watching, enjoy the replay and comment down below if you have anything to say. All right. Bye.